Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. Just going to have a quick look at weather for the next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, which takes us to around the 10th of April, so going into the second week of the new month. Looks like high pressure is going to be building in, so you may have some fairly decent weather from the weekend and through in towards next week. High pressure of in control. Because that position will be critical as to how mild it can get. But of course, the sun is getting rapidly stronger now. So certainly by day, we could be in for some very pleasant spring sunshine. Maybe cooler at night. Now, before we go on with that, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on most of the pages at gazmobiles.com. Have a browse through the widgets. And if there's any articles that you're interested in, widgets, it's just underneath the web video here on the homepage. Have a browse through any articles that you're interested in. Please click through. You can go off and read those articles, and because you're doing that, because you're clicking from Gazweb to where the article is, we get a revenue fee on what you're doing. Thanks so much for doing that. There's also a video ad down near the comment box, so hit play on that video ad, and you'll be able to pay for the website again. Thanks so much for doing that. Very windy day today, so let's just start off with that. And usually windy for the time of year. This is the map from xcweather.co.uk. You can find a link to that on the links page. This is sort of weather observations across the country, and the bright red arrows here indicating some very strong winds. So if we go round to let's try Marham, right over on the eastern side, gusts of wind there up to 32 to 48 miles an hour. Norwich 36 to 58 miles an hour. So even in the far east of the country, very strong winds coming through, 28 to 43 miles per hour in Wattisham. And then as we come further west, that just carries on through the Midlands, so Coventry Airport at 32 to 46 miles an hour west to northwesterly winds, and that carries back in towards Ireland as well. So if we go up to, let's try somewhere like Ballypatrick Forest, where we've got gust of wind going up to 26 to 56 miles an hour. Very windy day. I'm just going to carry on for much of the rest of the day, actually. It's not as bad across Scotland. You see the arrows are smaller up there, actually, for Scotland. But the rest of us, very windy day, and these winds are going to carry on for the rest of the day. They will gradually moderate as we go through the evening and into tonight. But if you're off out and about this afternoon, particularly on the roads, do take care. Some very strong gusts coming through. So these are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts for the next 7 to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF here over on the left, and the GFS is on the right. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is an area in the where high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red is extrapolating to high pressure, blue is extrapolating to low pressure. So you can see we've got a big area of above average height sitting right over top of the country for the next 8 to 10 days. As I say, this takes us to around the 10th of April. And yeah, the high pressure's in there with those red colours. So high pressure building through on both the ECMWF and the GFS in agreement. That high pressure more or less in over top of the country. It means that it's going to be relatively settled, I think, through the first week or so of April anyway, with quite a lot of high pressure building through the country. As I say, the exact position will be critical on just how warm it can get underneath that area of high pressure. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average. We're going significantly below average right now. I hope the next 24 hours is going to be pretty cold up to Thursday as well. But then the temperatures will stage a recovery as we go through in towards the Easter weekend and on into next week. They are sort of lifting back up a little bit above average, and maybe going a little bit more above average actually as we get through into the second half. But that's quite speculative. There's a lot of scatter. In fact, I did a video yesterday with some of the long range output, particularly the CFS model, indicating quite a chilly April. So I'm not sure about this idea about going significantly above average through the second week of April, but certainly through the next week anyway, the first week of the month, lifting a little bit above the 30-year temperature average. But we're in an area of high pressure, so say exact position is critical. We are going to be bringing some precipitation spikes through early in the period, so sort of Thursday into Good Friday. But then after that, there is a drying trend. You can see that quite evidently. Not many precipitation spikes going through, and that's just that high pressure building in really as we go through the weekend and on into next week. Temperature normally coming out more or less around average, so nothing terribly exciting going on there. Significantly colder than average central parts of Europe. The rainfall anomaly again coming out pretty much around average, maybe a little bit drier than average, but overall for next week, 31st to the 8th of March, not deviating too far from normal. So here we are with the generic GFS for Sunday, and the high pressure is building through the country. And this is going to be within relatively cool air. There's going to be a lot of cloud trapped underneath that high pressure, but it should be settling down at least as we go through the Easter weekend. So after a dodgy start with some rain around on Good Friday, I think we'll see an improving picture in terms of dryness, not necessarily in terms of sunshine and temperatures. But anyway, the high pressure is building through the country there on Easter Sunday, and it's still around as we go through into Easter Monday, although there could be a trough bringing more unsettled conditions to Scotland perhaps. And then we sort of get this area of low pressure developing to the east of the country on Tuesday. Now, I'm not sure about this. I would suspect this is a bit over top. If it did happen, it could bring some quite heavy rain actually to the eastern side of the country. But if we go back to the ensembles, there's the 7th of April just there. You can see it's basically pretty dry during that period. So that idea of low pressure developing around the country to the east isn't well supported, and I think the GFS could have gone off on a bit of a tangent with that one. I would suspect this high pressure out to west will be more centred over the country probably through to the start of next week. And then the high pressure just carries on really through into the middle of next week. So this is Wednesday, the 8th of April. The winds are in from the east, so not going to be a heat wave, but it should be mostly dry, albeit probably dragging quite a lot of cloud. And the high pressure just sits around the country up to day 10. This is Friday the 10th of April, still with that high pressure in there. If the sun can break through it has the potential to be relatively warm in the sunshine. The sun is getting very strong now as it lifts up in towards the northern hemisphere. So it's pleasant enough if the sun breaks through, but of course if we're stuck under cloud, the temperatures will be on the disappointing side. I mean, it's not a tremendously good position for that high pressure to be just there. Generally, if you want real sort of spring warmth and sunshine, you want the high pressure to be to the east, dragging up sort of southerly, southeasterly winds. The position of that high pressure brings the air around from the east and the north, so never going to be tremendously good weather in that sort of position, but it has the potential to be pleasant enough. The EWF very much in agreement for Easter weekend. The high pressure builds through the country on Easter Sunday, should keep it mainly dry, and that carries on into Easter Monday as well. Again, probably a lot of cloud underneath that high pressure, so temperature's not going to be spectacular, but it's okay. It's pleasant enough. Moving through to the start of next week, this is more what I'd expect. The EWF doesn't develop that low pressure to the east of the country, and instead it sort of keeps high pressure centred over the country for Tuesday the 7th. So that's probably the more likely scenario for Tuesday 7th of April. And then the ECM keeps a high pressure going through Wednesday the 8th and on into Friday the 10th. By Friday the 10th, that high pressure is just starting to get towards the Low Countries and Germany, and this begins to pull the winds up from a more southerly southeastern direction. So that could be very pleasant, actually, if that came off like that with high pressure getting through to Central Europe. That has the potential to start lifting the temperatures at least into the mid-teens in April, so a little bit of a burst of spring warmth coming along there if it was to come off like that. But remember, the GFS wants to keep that high pressure sort of to the northwest a little bit and have the flow more from a north to northeasterly direction. So yes, that position of the high pressure needs to be determined, of course, but the overall idea is ready for an unsettled start to the Easter weekend. Let the high pressure build through the country over Easter, be a lot of cloud and fairly chilly temperatures really at about high pressure. Not going to be great weather, but it'll be okay for getting out and about on Easter Sunday and Easter Monday. And then beyond that, the high pressure probably strengthens around the country if it does get to the east, as the ECM wants it to do by the 10th of April. We could be on for a burst of spring. Obviously, I'll keep you posted. I'll update the Easter forecast on the events page this evening. Tomorrow it's a 5-day forecast. I'll come back to that. That's all for now, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.